April 2011, UC Berkeley, a research lab. A postdoc logs onto Amazon to buy a book about fruit flies, a standard biology textbook. Used copies are selling for $35. But the new copies, 23,698,655.93 plus $3.99 shipping, obviously. This is the story of how two pricing algorithms went to war with each other and accidentally created the most expensive book in the entire history. Hey there, I'm Akhil from Monetizely and welcome to Astonishing Pricing Stories, where we explore the most fascinating pricing decisions that actually shaped business. And today's story reveals the hidden danger of automated pricing. When you remove humans from the equation, nobody is watching when things go catastrophically wrong. If you are using any kind of automated pricing in your business or thinking about it, this story will show you why guardrails are not optional, they're essential. So hit subscribe. The book was called The Making of a Fly, The Genetics of Animal Design, written by Peter Lawrence in 1992, published by Blackwell Scientific Publications, classic textbook in developmental biology. So if you are a biologist studying how organisms develop from a single cell, this was your Bible. Every developmental biology lab had a copy, but by 2011 it was out of print, which meant that the only way to get it was through used booksellers on Amazon. And that's where the story begins. Michael Eisen, an evolutionary biologist at UC Berkeley, had a postdoc who needed to buy the lab an extra copy. Standard procedure: log on to Amazon, search for the book, order it. Except when they searched, something was very wrong. Amazon listed 17 copies for sale, 15 used copies starting at $35.54. Again, totally reasonable for an out-of-print academic textbook. But then there were two new copies. One was priced at $1,730,045.91 and the other $2,198,177.95 plus $3.99 shipping on both. Because when you are spending $2 million on a book about flies, that $4 shipping might really matter. At first, Eisen thought it was a joke, a grad student with too much time, maybe a typo or something like that. But both sellers looked quite legitimate. One had over 8,000 ratings, the other had over 125,000 ratings. These were not random pranksters. These were serious established booksellers. So Eisen did what any curious scientist would do. He started watching. The next day, Eisen checked again. Both prices had gone up. Each was now nearly $2.8 million. And now they were within $5,000 of each other. That's when Eisen realized something fascinating was actually happening here. On the day of discovery, one bookseller, Body Book, was priced at exactly 1.270589 times the price of the other seller, Profnath. The next day, still exactly 1.270589 times Profnath's price. These were not human decisions. These were algorithms. Eisen kept watching every single day, taking screenshots, recording the prices, and the full pattern finally emerged. Once a day, Profnath would set their price to exactly 0.9983 times Body Book's price. A few hours later, Body Book would notice the change and set their price to 1.270589 times Profnath's new price. Do you see the problem? When you multiply 0.9983 by 1.270589, you get approximately 1.268. Now that's greater than 1, which means every day the price was multiplying by about 1.27, going up and up and up. Eisen watched this pattern continue perfectly for over a week. Day 1, 1.7 million. Day 3, 2.8 million. Day 5, 5.1 million. Day 7, 9.4 million. Day 9, 17.2 million. The algorithms were logged in a feedback loop. Neither one had a ceiling. Neither one had a sanity check. They were following their programming perfectly, and their programming was creating a disaster. On April 18th, 2011, the price peaked $23,698,655.93 for a biology textbook about fruit flies. Finally, on April 19th, someone at Profnath actually noticed. They manually dropped the price to $106.23. Body Book's algorithm immediately responded, setting the price at $134.97. And just like that, the war was over, but the lesson had been taught. So what were these algorithms actually trying to do? So let's start with Profnath. Their strategy is quite easy easy to understand. Always be the lowest price, but only slightly lower, 99.83% of the competition. Now this makes perfect sense. You want to win the sale by being cheapest, but you don't want to leave money on the table by being too cheap. If your competitor is at $100, you price at $99.83. You win the buy box, you maximize revenue. But boardbook strategy is more mysterious. Why would you want to be more expensive? Eisen theorized two possible reasons. Theory 1, reputation premium. Bodybooks had over 125,000 positive ratings. Maybe they were banking on customers paying a bit extra for that trust and reliability. Some people will pay 27% more for the peace of mind. Theory number 2, they didn't actually have the book. Maybe bodybook was drop shipping. They would list the book, and if someone bought it, then they'd go source it from another seller. Being 27% more expensive gives you the margin to buy from your competitor and still make a profit. But here is the critical insight. Neither algorithm had any awareness of the absolute price. Profnath did not care if the book was $10 or 10 millions. It just wanted to be 99.83 of bodybook. Bodybook didn't care if it was $100 or 100 million. It just wanted to be 127% of Profnath. Put them together and you get an infinite upward spiral. Now, this is not just a funny story about a book. This is a warning about the world we are building. 85% of foreign exchange trading is now done by algorithms. High frequency trading algorithms make millions of trades per second, and they interact with each other in ways we don't fully understand. Remember the 2010 flash crash? The Dow Jones dropped 9% in minutes, nearly $1 trillion in value gone. Investigators spent 5 months trying to figure out what happened. They found the trigger, but the cascade, that was algorithms interacting with other algorithms, creating an unpredictable downward spiral. Sounds familiar, right? Now, here is what makes this actually terrifying. When humans make mistakes, they are usually localized. One person, one company, one decision. But when algorithms make mistakes, they happen at machine speed across entire markets simultaneously, and they can cascade in ways that are literally impossible to predict. The Profnath bodybook spiral took 10 days to reach $23 million. The flash crash took 36 minutes to wipe out $1 trillion. What happens when it takes 36 seconds? If you are building a SaaS product with automated pricing, this story teaches critical lessons. First, always build in guardrails. Ceiling prices, floor prices, maximum daily change limits, rate of change alerts. Your algorithm should never be able to price something at 23 million or 1 cent or 10x yesterday's price. Common sense limits that your code cannot exceed no matter what. Second, monitor for anomalies. Set up alerts for unusual pricing behavior. If your price changes by more than X% in Y hours, a human should get notified. These sellers had days to notice. They did not because nobody was watching. Third, test algorithm interactions. If you are using competitive pricing, simulate what happens when your competitors also use it. What if both use the exact same logic? What if your factors multiply to greater than 1? Run the math, find the edge cases, fix them before they cost you millions. Number 4, understand the cascade effects. Your pricing does not exist in isolation. It affects your competitors, who affect you, who affect them. Those feedback loops can spiral in seconds. Number 5, keep humans in the loop. Automation is powerful. There is no denying that. But set it and forget it is dangerous. Your algorithms should augment human judgment, not replace it entirely. Clearly, nobody bought the book at $23 million. And bodybook didn't lose any money. The market did not crash. So what's the problem? The problem is that this was visible. This was a biology textbook, an out of print book, something people noticed because it was absurd. But what about all the prices that don't look absurd? What about the hotel room that should cost $150 but costs $180 because 3 algorithms pushed it up? What about the aeroplane ticket that should cost $300 but costs $380 because competitive pricing algorithms nudged each other higher? Now what about SaaS tools that should cost $50 per month but cost $70 because everyone's pricing 10% below the market average, and the market average for some reason keeps climbing? These algorithms don't just fail spectacularly, they also fail invisibly in ways we never notice because the price is look reasonable. So the $23 million book is not really about a book. It's about what happens when we outsource decisions to algorithms without understanding the systems we are actually creating. It is about feedback loops, emergent behavior, and unintended consequences. And most importantly, it's about the illusion of control. We think we are in charge because we are the ones who wrote the algorithms. But when they interact with other algorithms in complex systems, nobody is really in charge anymore. The lesson is not don't use algorithms. They are actually very powerful tools. The lesson is build them with humility. Set limits, monitor constantly, keep humans involved, test for edge cases. Because the alternative is a $23 million book about flies, or a $1 trillion flash crash, or something worse we have not even imagined yet. By the way, Peter Lawrence, the author, thought the whole thing was hilarious. He can now legitimately claim that Amazon once valued his book at nearly $24 million. Next week, we are diving into MoviePass, the company that sold unlimited movies for $995. Then, at a time when each single ticket cost $12. Simple math said it could not work. Venture capital said it would. Guess who was right? Subscribe so you don't miss it. And drop a comment. Have you ever seen automated pricing go terribly wrong? I'm Akhil from Monetizely, and thank you for watching.